Well, hello there. This video is going to show you how Nani, the autonomous sailboat, went to Alameda and sailed around the Saildrone Surveyor. If you go out to the old Alameda Naval Air Base, you will come to an almost empty harbor with Saildrone's 72-foot-long autonomous sailboat named Surveyor moored in it. They have a dock with other cool boats and a fence that I stayed on the right side of. The harbor has several old concrete ramps, so I was able to launch Nani from the one you can see here from the water. My goal was to have Nani sail around Surveyor autonomously. While the Saildrone Surveyor is very visible when you visit this part of Alameda, my satellite map did not show the Surveyor in the harbor. So I had to do a bit of work to find the boat's location so I could set waypoints to sail around without hitting anything. You can watch the end of this video for the details on my Surveyor survey. The red diamond shows my estimate of the Surveyor's position. The wind was blowing from this top corner. The first leg is a mostly beam reach. The second leg is upwind, roughly close hauled. Hopefully Nani won't need to tack, but there's room if she does. The third leg is also upwind and also hopefully can be sailed without tacking. The fourth leg is a very broad or downwind angle. And after Nani gets to waypoint 4, the course will repeat so she can jibe around and keep going to waypoint 1. So I rigged Nani on the ramp, powered up my radio transmitter so I could take over from the autopilot, and I connected my Amazon tablet for babies to the telemetry modem so I could run the Mission Planner ground control program. I launched and sailed around a little before sending it off to the first waypoint. So the first 2 legs went pretty well, and looked like Nani might have an easy day of it. So there's a little dip coming up to waypoint number 2, and then this next leg was the most challenging, as we'll see. If you want more details, you can watch the analysis at the end of the video. Tacked on waypoint 3, that's dumb. Which way is it gonna go? Yeah, keep doing that. So as we'll see in the post-sail analysis at the end of the video, it did have to tack to make it to that waypoint, which I didn't expect, but you could also see that the wind is very gusty and quite shifty that day. So it had to tack, but then it makes the next leg just fine. So the boat jibed at waypoint 4 and it rounded up and got stuck into the wind, and it really just could not get back on course. So I eventually put it in manual mode and let the sail out myself, and then it was able to turn down. So you'll see that the course is a little bit different. It's because of when I put it back into auto mode, it does a straight line from there to waypoint 1. This time it got a big gust of wind just before waypoint 4, but it recovered all by itself and kept going. So I put it in return to home mode about here, that's why it's tacking, just so it would come down the other side of the sail drone Surveyor with the camera. So, a pretty successful voyage. Now stay tuned if you want for the bonus features. Here's a MATLAB analysis of the boat. So up in the corner is the boat, down here is the boat's heading and the wind vane. And then the first leg is from wherever it gets engaged down to the first waypoint, pretty good. Second leg has a big dip here at the corner. Third leg sags off a bit, eventually tacks for the mark. Fourth leg's looking good, and then big round up, gets way off course here. I actually put it in manual mode and let the sail out to make that corner. The second lap is pretty similar to the first lap, sags off a bit, does a better job at the corner coming up here, it has a big gust and rounds up, but then it makes it all by itself. And then after this mark, I put it in return to home mode and it sails back to the dock. So one reason the boat might be off course is if it's sailing upwind, because it can't sail straight into the wind. So if it's close hauled, then it's doing the right thing by being off course. So this analysis puts a red plus anywhere the sail is pulled in tight and the boat's sailing close hauled. So you can see in a few places where it turns into the wind. And this explains the sag here on the second leg, and also the off course on the third leg is mostly upwind. So the boat's doing okay over in the left-hand side. It doesn't explain that corner, so we'll look at that later, but it does get into the wind here on both laps on this leg. The other thing to check is if the boat is trying to turn but can't for some reason. So there's basically two reasons. The first would be that the rudder is all the way over. That means the boat's trying to turn as hard as it can, and so maybe it's still not able to do it. And the other thing is if the boat is heeled a lot, tipped over, it also makes it really hard to steer in certain directions. It can't turn away from the wind if it's heeled over. So this map has got a green square where the boat is heeled a lot because it was a windy day, and it's got a magenta dot where the rudder is hard over. And so you can see this upper right corner where we had so much trouble steering. The boat is heeled over a lot, and then the rudder is trying to steer as much as it can, and it's just stuck up into the wind because it was so windy that day. So the solution here would either be a bigger rudder, probably letting the sail out automatically when the boat heels a lot, and also I have a smaller sail I definitely should have used that day. This is a walkthrough of how I surveyed the position of the sail drone Surveyor boat while she was on her mooring. Since she doesn't show up in the satellite image I had, I walked around and recorded my track, and then I walked in as straight a line as I could towards the boat. The first line was me walking towards, just as straight a line as I could towards the back end of the boat, and I overlaid a line on it here. Then I walked over here and walked a line towards the front end of the boat, the bow of the boat. I overlaid this line. So the boat hopefully is between these two lines. Then I walked over here and tried to walk down the center line of the boat. I got this line here. So that would be enough to define the boat's position as being between the front line and the back line and on the center line. But it's good to have checks for these kinds of things. So I did another sight line towards the stern of the boat. I walked around the corner and down here. It's this one, and that intersects pretty nicely with the stern of the boat. So then I took a picture that included a pipe that you could see on the Google image here, this sewer pipe or something sticking out, and I lined it up in the image with this building that was all the way across the cove. The edge of this old building here, you can see the image. And that went through roughly the front part or the middle of the boat. So this is confirming that I'm pretty close anyway. Is a sight line down the ramp where I launched my boat, and I lined it up with the edge of the ramp and the edge of this building down here that you could see in the image, and that went through the middle-ish of the boat. So it's looking pretty good that the boat's in this general area. So I used all of that information and came up with a best guess of the boat's position there. And after I did all that, I realized I could check the AIS, the Internet AIS servers that might have the last time this transmitted its position before it was powered down. and this was what I found. Close enough to set a course to go around it. On this center line, this was into the wind on the day that I visited. So I assume the wind was blowing this way, which is roughly 45 degrees to the shore here, which means upwind angles would be parallel to the shore. So you would tack this way and then this way and then way to go upwind. Upwind would be towards this corner of the cove. So I set up these waypoints so that it would start and have a first waypoint off this way. This would be a pretty close to a beam reach. On this angle, this one's upwind but a little bit off, so maybe we can make it in one tack. And then from here to here, again, mostly upwind but not quite close hauled, so a little bit off the wind, so maybe make it in one tack. This is pretty much downwind from here to here, and then I set up the course to repeat. So these are the waypoints, and this is how I found where I thought the Surveyor should be. My Surveyor survey. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have something to say, please feel free to leave a comment. I enjoy reading them, and I'll see you in the next video.